weeks ago, Mazda came out with the redesigned CX-5 for 2016. It's got a few changes, some not that great, some that are worth something. We're going to check them out and show you what's different between this model and the old model, and maybe some things you don't know about it. Since 2013, we have loved the Mazda CX-5. It's definitely the best in its class for the price point. It's super sporty, super fun to drive. It's pretty good in the snow. Obviously tires makes a big difference to that. It's not good at off-road at all, but we did a little test and proved that, but it's what do you expect? It's not a Jeep. For this year, it seems like they've made a lot of little changes and they kind of fixed all the little tiny things that bugged me about this car. But even with that said, there wasn't that much to fix in the first place. So if you can save some money, you might as well just get the old one. The media control is really sweet. It makes a big difference. I kind of like the buttons up around the screen on the older version just because it made more of an occasion. But this screen's way better. It's a little bit higher resolution and it's really easy touchscreen rather than actually having to poke it like you did the previous 2 years. The buttons look a couple of buttons are different and they look a little bit nicer. I love the flat, like this kind of satiny metal rather than the last couple of years. This looks a little bit more like an Audi or something newer. It's got some like kind of Volvo styling in the middle too. It's basically the same with just some upgrades. It does have a parking brake that's now like an electronic parking brake, which is cool and everything. Every car company's going to that, but personally I'd rather have the old-fashioned pull-up. It's in your way when it's up, so you know it's on. It just seems like something I would be stupid and try to drive away with on while it was on. So one other thing that's different for this year is the back of the seats are black. Now obviously this would be the same if you got the black interior, but on the lighter interior, that's kind of cool because like when people get in the car and stuff, they don't scuff this all up. It hides it better when it's black. Personally, I actually like the look of it all white or all the same tan color, but most people don't, so I guess it's an upgrade. Originally in 2013, the 2-liter engine came on all the models, but in the 2014 and the 2015 and now in the 2016, the 2-liter engine only comes in the Sport. The 2.5 liter comes in the Touring and the Grand Touring, and it's just a no-brainer. If you're gonna buy this car, you buy a Touring or above. It's not that much more money and you get tons more for it. You lose about a mile per gallon in the long run for the 2.5 liter, but to have that much more pep and be so much better in passing people on the freeway and on hills, it's just like, it's not even an option to me. I'd buy a used one that had a 2.5 before I would buy a new one with a 2.0. Last year's model still had the old TomTom navigation system, and we did a video about that on the Mazda 3. And I know people say TomTom's a great navigation system. They're full of it. It's a piece of crap. I'm so glad that Mazda dropped those people because it was the hardest thing to put in an address. Everything was backwards. It wouldn't navigate to anything general. You had to have an address for anything you want to navigate to. And it was just way worse. And frankly, everyone uses their phone anyway, so I don't even know I care about navigation system that much on a car, but if you really like using it, this new navigation system is way better. 2016 has a sport mode, which is pretty much the stupidest sport mode ever made because it doesn't change anything about the suspension. All it does is you shift a little higher RPM, which makes 0 sense, as you can just do that by pushing on the gas harder. But I guess it's something that people probably demanded and maybe a selling point for the newer versions, but frankly I wouldn't care whether I had it or not. It's pretty much useless. So we're going to look at some of the new different things on the 2016 that are different from the previous models. The rims are really the big difference. They look really similar to the 2016 except for the two-tone, so it's got kind of the chromey and then the gunmetal color. I don't really like it on the black because it's like slightly off, so it kind of looks like you just like painted it wrong color, but on any other color it looks pretty cool. The rearview mirror is a little bit different, not a big deal. Not something you really notice unless you stack it up against the older models. Same with the front grills. They're slightly different, the grill, and then this little like thing around the fog light. They look a little bit more like, I don't know, bulky. It's cool. Not something that's a big deal. Other than that, the car pretty much the same. Some of the things we didn't like about the car, I don't like the parking brake. I like the old school pull-up style. Sport mode's totally pointless. And honestly, the worst thing about this is there's this nasty like fake leather cover that's around the media center, and it actually has fake stitching. This isn't real stitching, and it looks so cheap. The old one was way better. I mean, it was just plastic, but at least it looked like it would meant to be there. Especially when you compare it to the cool like satin trimmings and everything everywhere. It makes it look like an Audi. Overall, the improvements they made in 2016 are pretty awesome. There's obviously some drawbacks like we talked about, but overall I prefer the 2016. If you're in the dealership though and you're gonna buy a new one and there's like some rebates or some money you can save buying the older one, I definitely go with the older one. You can save like a substantial amount of money. I mean, $500 is not much money, and it's probably worth just having the newer model. But I definitely prefer to go on the older version if you can save some cash. Please check out our other videos on our channel. There's other videos on this car, on some older versions of the car. We did an off-road test. We also did some cool stuff with the Mazda 3. Check it out. We're going to do different videos, obviously different car companies. Mike Ferguson, True Car Review. Peace.